So although my shop is big, it is getting pretty cluttered, so I decided to build a lumber rack, as this will help me out short term and also be useful long term. I built this to go underneath the stairs. That's not a very useful area of the shop, and it's perfect for lumber because short boards can go on the top and longer ones on the bottom. So I think this is going to work out pretty well. I always struggle with how nice to make shop furniture, but I did go through the trouble of doing lap joints and also trimming off the ends of the construction lumber, just so it's nice and square. And I picked dowels for the middle because it's just really easy to drill these holes to connect everything together. I set up dust collection to clear the chips away. It's nice when you're drilling a bunch of holes like this. I drill through holes so I can put a screw in the other side and make sure everything's held together permanently forever. So to do the lap joints, I made this sled for my hand circular saw. And you've probably seen this kind of technique used before. I just make a cut down the middle. Now I know the edges along those cuts are exactly where the blade's going to be, so I line that up to where I want the lap joint and just make a cut. In this case, I made a second cut with a bandsaw, so the material just comes out. I did that on all the ends. For the middle, you can use both sides of that sled sandwiched in between a piece of wood that's the same width as a piece that'll go in the recess you make, and then just cut out everything in between. Now in this first cut, I ran into some trouble with the blade guard. It kept getting stuck and in the way, so I ended up making the last few cuts while holding it out of the way, which really isn't ideal. So I did something that also really isn't very ideal and drilled and threaded a hole to hold the blade guard out of the way with a screw. I'm not so thrilled about this. I certainly don't recommend it. Do not do this. Give me a suggestion for a better way to handle this. Having that blade guard not snap back can be pretty dangerous because if you set the saw down and the blade's still spinning, it'll run away from you. It's just not ideal. But it did make some joints that fit really snugly. So as you can imagine, this is a pretty dusty operation, and you might be wondering why I'm not wearing any dust protection, but in fact I am. I'm wearing these First Defense nasal screens. Now these were developed for allergies, but they filter down to 1 micron particles, so it's really ideal for woodworking. This is what they look like. Now if I'm just going to be making dust for a couple minutes, I'll put on the standard respirator. But if I'm going to be working in the shop all day and going to have dust exposure all day, I find these get really annoying with the sweat and the irritation, just the weight of it. I really don't like wearing these for long periods of time. And I believe these do a better job than just the lightweight dust masks, and are even more comfortable. So I really like these for those occasions when I'm going to be working for a long time. And I would imagine they'd be doubly good for woodworker with facial hair. There are a few of those running around. There's no interference or anything. They're really easy to wear. Here's what that looks like. Just sticky around the edges. You just put them right over your nose. And now you're protected from dust. I have seasonal allergies too, so I wear these when I'm mowing the lawn just because the next day I'll be miserable if I don't. So anyway, this is not a paid sponsorship. Well, it kind of is because I have an affiliate link in the description. So if you buy these with that link, then I get a little bit of money. But mostly I just want to bring this up as a good solution for somebody. If you're not satisfied with your current dust protection, then give this a try. Maybe it'll work for you. So I wanted countersinks on the outside of these holes, and it just seems like these countersinks always chatter and leave this annoying hex pattern on the outside when you have the hole drilled first. But what you can do is reverse the drill and just run it backwards and kind of scrape the hole out a bit, and this ends up being a lot closer to a perfect countersink. Now it's assembly time. Tip everything upright, and it slides right underneath the stairs like it was supposed to. Now, in the original design, I had a piece of plywood up at the top, but I decided not to do that and just connected them similar to the other legs. And I give the little guy a chance to have some fun playing in the lumber rack slash jungle gym before I get to loading it up with lumber. But this is great, gets a lot of junk out of the way. So you might be wondering how I'm doing these shots. I use this 7-oak slowly rotating camera mount thingy. There's an affiliate link in the description for this as well. It's a little spendy, but it's kind of a cool shot. It'd probably be even cooler if somebody came up with a way to make this without spending the money. But for now, it'll work. If you're a video maker, then something to take a look at. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, folks.